Hello class, these are our notes for section 3.5 in Informal Geometry. This is showing lines are parallel. So today we're going to look at kind of the backwards of the skill we've been using. So far we've been looking at how if we have a transversal crossing parallel lines, it means we have all these different angles that are congruent. Today we're going to look at the backwards of that, so the converse. So today we're talking about how if lines are parallel, so today we're doing the reverse. So the first one says if lines are parallel, then alternate interior angles are congruent. So now we're going to do the converse, and we're going to say if alternate interior angles are congruent, then the lines are parallel. So this is really, like I said, the backwards of the skill we've been working on before. So this, remember, when we talk about our alternate interior angles, it's always good for us to kind of trace these. Alternate interior angles were that Z shape. That's not going to work. That's way too big. Let's pick a different marker. So that Z shape here. So remember why we used a Z shape for that is they were between the two parallel lines. That's what interior means. And one angle was on one side of the line, the other angle was on the opposite side of the line. So when you connect those angles, you get that Z shape. So let's go ahead and look at the next one. So next one was our alternate exterior angles and parallel lines. So we had to begin with parallel lines implies alternate exterior angles are congruent. So this double arrow there means implies. So now we're going to do the converse or the backwards of that. So now we're going to start with our alternate exterior angles. And if those are congruent, well, then we know that we have parallel lines. So our writing is getting a little bit shorter on this. So alternate exterior angles. So exterior angles are the outside of those parallel lines. So they're going to be in the exterior. And because they're alternate, one is on one side of the transversal, the other one's on the other side. And when we trace those angles, we end up with those V's. So we're still trying to make sure that we remember how to identify those angle pairs. So next one is corresponding angles. So same kind of thing here. It says if we have parallel lines, then it implies that our corresponding angles are congruent. So now we're working backwards. We're finding the converse of that. And so the converse would be that the corresponding angles are congruent. And this would imply that we have parallel lines. And I did not make enough L's for the parallel and the word lines. Let's fix that. And then, of course, we need to also look at how you identify corresponding angles. So when I'm looking at corresponding angles, I'm thinking about how, like in this little group of 4 angles, right, we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4 angles all the way around. And same thing down here. It's in the same position in each of those angle groups. So if we're looking at the upper left quadrant on one, it's going to be the upper left quadrant on the other. So I'm going to erase this and draw those in a little bit neater. So like this angle here would be corresponding with this angle here. And when we connect those angle shapes, for this one we end up with the F. All right, on this last one. So remember our same side interior angles when we had parallel lines were supplementary. So now again we're looking at the converse. So backwards that would be if we have same side interior angles supplementary, then that would mean we have parallel lines. So same side means same side of the transversal. So this is my transversal right here. So they're on the same side of that, but they're in the interior. So this is my interior. So what we mean is like this angle right here and this angle right here. And those make kind of a C shape. It's a very blocky looking C, but a C. So today we're going to be looking at all of these different pictures, and I'm trying to decide, are the angles or all the lines parallel? So I'll have to look at what angles they're giving me and what's congruent and just kind of make a decision from there. So what I notice on number 1 is that I have 2 angles that are 185. I have an angle right here that's 85. I might have said 185, and another angle that's 85 right there. And let's see what shape these make. Those make that F shape. They are corresponding angles. So our corresponding angles are congruent. Well, if they're congruent, it means we have parallel lines, doesn't it? So I'm going to answer yes, parallel lines. So I really think it helps to first look at the angle shape and then go from there. So on this next one, I have a 60-degree angle, but I'm given no other angle measures or markings on here. So on this one, I don't have enough information. So I'm going to write no, not enough information. Let's see, for the next one, I have a 100-degree angle and an 80-degree angle, but I'm not sure if those are the ones I want or not. Like, let's just do a little bit of math here, because these are not corresponding, they're not vertical, they're not alternating exterior. I know you might be thinking V's, but the alternating exterior V's are like here and here. So maybe what I need to do is I need to use this linear pair right here to figure out this angle. And then I could look at alternating exterior angles. That would be one thing I could do. There's a lot of different ways to actually solve this. So let me erase my little scratch work here. So I know that if this angle is 100 and these two angles together are 180 because they make a linear pair, I could do 180 minus 100 is 80. And so this angle is 80 degrees. And now that I know that one's 80, I know this angle here and I know this angle here, and they are both 80 degrees. So we have alternating exterior angles congruent, which means yes, we have parallel lines. Okay, on the next one, I have a 50 and a 130. Well, that tells me that these make 180. It's a linear pair, but I don't know anything about this other line. So I'm going to have to say no, not enough information again. We would need one angle from this group of four down here to be able to tell. So for our last five, we're looking at just angle markings now. I guess last three. The next three are equations, right? But these three, we just got angle markings. So I've got to look at what angle this one is with this one. So those are both on the interior, and they are on opposite sides of this line. Interior because they're where I'm shading blue, and they're on opposite sides of the transversal. So these are going to be alternating interior angles, and they are congruent. So yes, we're going to have parallel lines. And let's see on the next one, these are my vertical angles, which are always congruent by definition. So it doesn't tell me anything about angle 1, 2, 3, or 4 over here. And so I'm going to say no on this one. We do not have enough information. On 7, I have this angle and this angle. So let's see if we can think about what shape those are. So those are going to be alternating exterior. So if my alternating exterior angles are congruent, then yes, I have parallel lines. And just to make clear, really again, what alternating exterior are, exterior is outside of those two parallel lines, so that's my exterior. And then alternating means when I look at this transversal that's down the middle, one is on one side of the transversal, the other one is on the other side of the transversal. And when we connect them or when we draw them out, they look like V's. So we could tell by the V's. We could also just think about what those words mean. So for the last three, it says we are using algebra. We want to find the value of x so that the lines are congruent. So basically, like not congruent, but parallel. So basically, we're pretending that they're parallel, and we're trying to figure out what x would have to be. So here I've got that C shape. So if I have that C shape, I'm looking at same side interior. So in order to be parallel, these would have to be supplementary. So supplementary would mean, so we're doing same side interior sup. So supplementary means adds to 180. So 2x plus 70 equals 180. And then we want to solve. So divide both sides by 70. Subtract 70 on both sides and then divide both sides by 2. And x is equal to 55. Same thing on the next one. We have that C shape. We have same side interior again, which are supplementary. So 2x plus 4x is equal to 180. This time we have x's on the same side, so we're going to combine our like terms and get 6x. And then divide both sides by 6. And so x is equal to 30. And then same thing on this last one, right? I have a 90-degree angle here. And these two are same side interior. They are supplementary. And so I'm going to write x plus 22 plus 90 equals 180. You might have a shortcut on this one. You might be able to do some logic here and come up with an easier way of solving. 22 and 90 is, let's see, 112. So plus 112. And then we would want to subtract 112 on both sides. So x is equal to 68. So these are our notes from today. We are just really continuing what we've learned about all these different angle pairs. And again, today we're working backwards. So instead of starting out with parallel lines and then finding all the equal angles, now we're working backwards and saying if we have these equal angles, are our lines parallel or not? So as always, if you have any questions, please make sure that you're asking them.